Hello students, myself Bhanu Solanki, lecturer of botany. Today I am going to deliver genetics, one of the chapter of our senior syllabus, genetics or the principle of inheritance. It is very crucial chapter not only from the biology point of view but also from the exams point of view also, because every year from this chapter a significant number of questions actually asked. So here there I expect that you will be very comfortable and very enthusiastic to learn about this crucial chapter, genetics. Before ongoing the concepts of the genetics, you just think about it that a large number of diversity of the plants you observed. In junior sections you have studied about the plant and animal diversity, various kind of plants, algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperms, angiosperms. Similarly, various kind of animals you have studied. The fundamental question that came in mind is that why they are so much diverse, how they are different from each other. Similarly, you have studied about the morphology. You've seen the variation, the diversity of the various kind of plant parts, how they can be so much a variable one, although they all are the plants. In the same way, you have studied about the plant anatomy and histology. There is also you observe there are huge diversity of the tissues, parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, xylem, phloem. Why they are so different and who is the determinant? Who is the determinant that decide that this one would be the parenchyma, this one would be the sclerenchyma, this one would be the collenchyma? There is such a huge diversity. Similarly, in the cells, different kind of cells perform different functions. Cells of the liver performing different function, cells of the kidney performing different functions, cells of the brain performing different functions. Who decide that what kind of a function any particular organ have to perform? These are some fundamental questions. Apart from this, you just ask to yourself a very fundamental question, that you all are human being and your parents are also human being, and their parents were also human being. Means what a trend that human being always give rise to the human being. All the siblings of yours arise from your parents, they all are human being. But here beside this, one more thing is noticeable, that all your siblings are although human being, but you all are different from each other. What a contradictory or contrasting thing is this. All are human being but different from each other. That means all these such kind of questions where there actually the answer reside, then the answer simply comes from the genetics. Means genetics is one of the such a branch of the biology, such a discipline of the biology, because of which all these things are actually happening. Means this diversity of the plant, this diversity of the animal that you are watching is nothing, it's just because of the genetics. Various kind of morphological differences if you observe among the plants, it's just because of genetics. Whatever the different kind of tissues and their functions you observe is also just because of the genetics. Different kind of physiological responses that we observe among the plants are also just because of the genetics. Means I can conclude likewise that everything, every wing of the biology is simply moving around the pivotal science, genetics. Means in simple words you can say genetics is the governance of all other biological branches. All other biological wings are ultimately controlled or governed at the genetics level. Means we are going to discuss about this governance, means genetics. So let's come to the genetics in the world of genetics. Let us first discuss that what is the technical meaning of the genetics and what are the different kind of terminologies involved in this study of the genetics. Genetics is nothing, it is simply study of the inheritance and variations. Study of the inheritance and variations, collectively called genetics. Now let us discuss about these two terms, that what is the inheritance and what is the variations. Inheritance means passing of characters. passing of characters from parents to progeny. Passing of the characters from parents to progeny. When I was arise, then definitely some set of the characters were transmitted by my parents. That is the reason that I am also human being. Same process was executed by my grandparents. That is why my parents were also human being. Means if human being gives rise to the human being, then definitely there should be some mechanism. Yes, the mechanism is the inheritance, means passing on of the character from parent to progeny. Another similar word is there, heredity. Heredity and inheritance means simply nothing, passing of the characters. The difference is only that heredity is a verb and inheritance is a noun, nothing else. Variation, the second part, means differentiate among individuals of any species. As I said already that all the siblings are human being, but all your siblings are different from each other. These slight differences that you observe among you siblings is just because of the variation. Means differences are because of the variation, and this unanimity to be a human being is just because of the inheritance. So genetics simultaneously describe to the two different aspects. One, the ability to produce the similar kind of a organism, means human being to human being, goat to goat, roach to roach, camel to camel, likewise. And variation means the slight differences that you will observe among all the human beings, the slight differences that you observe among all the goats, that is just because of the variations. So heredity or inheritance is a synonymous word, and variation is the another word. Genetics is the study of inheritance and variation. Ability to produce the human being to human being, that goes in the category of inheritance, means passing of the characters, and differences among the individuals of any species or population, that is the variations. Now we will focus on the part variations basically. Variations is really very crucial because it is the basis of evolution. You all are aware about the evolution, that how the new and more efficient organism came in existence, that is just because of the raw material, that is the variations. Basically variations are of two types, somatic variations and germinal variations. Somatic variations means acquired variations, means those variations that we will earn after our birth. Such kind of variations are not present since our birth. After birth we will gain such kind of variations, so they are known as a somatic variations. On other hand, germinal variations means innate variations, means such kind of variations remain present since our birth. So there are two types of variations, somatic variation and germinal variation. Beside this, somatic variations are non-inheritable. What the mean of it? It means any kind of a somatic variation that you earn, that you acquire, will not transmit from you to your progeny. When you will die, these variation will also finish along with the organism. Means they cannot transmit from parent to progeny. While germinal variations are of inheritable nature. Means such kind of a variations will transmit from parent to progeny. Third thing, they may arise, somatic variations may arise due to environment, environmental variations, may be due to use and disuse, and maybe because of the conscious efforts. Somatic variations may be arise because of the environmental variations, maybe because of the use and disuse, and maybe because of the conscious efforts. You can easily understand it in such a simple examples. Suppose there is a twin, identical twins, genetically similar kind of a two baby, identical twin. One of the identical twin is allowed to rear in any cold area like Jammu and Kashmir, and the another one if allowed to grow or rear in any hot area like South Africa or other such kind of a tropical country. After a certain period of time, if you will observe their skins, you will find a significant difference in their skin color. The one who reared or grow in cold area will carry white or fair skin, as compared to the one who rear into the tropical area, there would be a comparatively dark skin color. So this is a difference of the skin color. One comparatively fair, another one comparatively dark, is because of what? Because of the variation of environment. Environment of the Jammu and Kashmir is comparatively different as compared to the environment of the tropical areas. So this variation is a earned variation. This is the acquired variation that they avail or they acquire after their birth. So goes in the category of somatic variation. Second is the use and disuse. You must remember that we all have a muscles, but if I go through a regular physical exercises, if I do the gym and all that, then I will build up my body, I will build up my muscles. But if I will not go through any kind of a gym or physical exercise, then I can't build up such a muscular body. So this someone that have a muscular body, someone have a weak body, the difference is because of what? Because someone used this muscle power to build up the body and the another one not using it. So this variation in between a muscular body and a weak body is because of what? Because of the use and disuse, and it is also not inheritable, because it is not a guarantee that someone if is of a muscular body, then their wards or their offspring would also be of a muscular body. No, it is not necessary, because it is not an inheritable variation. It will not transmit from parent to progeny. Third is the conscious efforts. You all are aware that different organisms, different students perform a different kind of a expert works into the particular direction. As in case of us, we will pay our conscious efforts or the our more and more effort towards the medical science, and ultimately we will become the doctor. There are someone who work into the engineering field, they become the engineer. Someone who pay their attention and conscious efforts into the teaching direction, they become teacher. So someone become doctor, someone become engineer, someone become teacher, someone become pickpocket even. Then why these variations? Because someone pay their conscious effort in the medical science, they become doctor. Someone pay their conscious efforts into the engineering field, they become master of the engineering. Means what? The variations, they were present since birth? Not at all. They acquired by the conscious efforts. So somatic variation may be arise because of environment, because of the use and disuse, because of the conscious efforts. Now focus on the germinal variations, means innate variations, means inheritable variations. They may be arise due to independent assortment, may be arise due to crossing over, may be arise due to random fertilization, and they may also arise because of the mutations. These are the causes or the reasons behind the germinal variations. In genetics, about all these four terms we will discuss in the detail. Here, there, it is not the appropriate time where there we can elaborate these terms, but in the coming days you will be familiar. In fact, you would be the master of these terms, so need not to worry about these four terms. Independent assortment, crossing over, random fertilization and mutation are the lead reason behind the germinal variations. Germinal variations, we will keep continue. Germinal variations are further of two types. Germinal variations can further be divided into the two categories as continuous variations and discontinuous variations. What is the meaning of these words? Continuous variations and discontinuous variations. Whenever you observe a phenotype is not restricted only in one or two distinguishable forms. There is a continuous distribution of the phenotype. Any character show a large number of variant, then such kind of a variations are known as a continuous variations, means continuous distribution of the phenotype. In contrast, if any character show only very few limited one or two distinguishable forms of the phenotype, one or two very few limited distinguishable forms of the phenotype, then such kind of a variation is called discontinuous variation. Take an example. Continuous variations means a continuous distribution of the phenotype. Just for example, human skin color. Human skin color is not confined only in between the darkest skin color Negro and the fairmost skin color Caucasoid. There are a large number of patterns of the skin color we will observe. There may be the darkest one Negro, then dark brown, then mulatto, similarly light, very light, and the Caucasoid. Means the phenotype is not restricted in between the only two distinguishable forms. There are a huge distribution, a continuous distribution of the phenotype. Such kind of a variation is called continuous. One more example we can take. We cannot classify human being on the basis of the height only in two categories as a tall and dwarf. We all are aware that in human being there are several phenotypic variant you can observe with respect to the height of the human being. Means height in case of human being is not a discontinuous variation, it is a continuous variation, means more than two variants are actually existing regarding to the height of human being. Now if we consider to the discontinuous variation, again I said that the character is variable in very limited distinguishable forms. Just for example, in case of the pisum plant, the garden pea plant, the plant may be either tall or may be either dwarf, means only two distinguishable forms, discontinuous variation. Shape of the seed in case of the pea plant vary only in between the two forms, round seed and wrinkled seeds, means continuous distribution? No, only limited distinguishable forms, discontinuous variation. Shape of the pod either inflated or constricted, means only two variable forms, goes in the category of discontinuous variation. So whenever you observe only very limited number, just one or two distinguishable forms of the character or the phenotype, that kind of variation is called discontinuous variation. And if a large number of variant you observe, then such kind of a variation is called continuous variation. So all those characters upon which Mendel did work, I mean to say pea plants characters, height of the plant, shape of the pod, shape of the seed, color of the flower, they all are actually distinguishable in only two distinguishable forms. So they all were the discontinuous variations. But human height, human skin color, human IQ, they all have a large number of variants of the phenotype. That is why they belong to the category of continuous variations. So I hope you are comfortable by using the terms continuous variation and discontinuous variations. So it was the general introduction of the terminology. I mean to say term genetics means study of the inheritance, also called heredity, and the variations. Now we will discuss some more terms regarding to the genetics so that this journey of the genetics become more convenient, because these kind of terms we have to use frequently. Let us discuss clone, ramete, offspring, siblings, and twins. These are some of the related terms. Let's forget them. Clone. A group of the organisms arise by asexual means, collectively called clone. Suppose there was one E. coli and after binary fission, hundreds of E. coli arise. Then this group of the E. coli collectively called clone. And each representative of this clone is known as a ramete. Means each individual of the clone is known as a ramete, and the group of the organism arise by asexual reproduction. The product of the asexual reproduction, the collective group of the product is known as a clone. So don't say that clones, the word clone itself is sufficient, because this entire group is a clone. So clone and ramete are associated words. The group of the progeny arise by asexual reproduction, collectively called clone, and each individual called ramete. In contrast to the clone, the word is offspring. Products of the sexual reproduction. Products of the sexual reproduction called offspring. Sibling is also associated word, but there is a slight difference. Products of the sexual reproduction arise from the same parent. They are known as siblings. Means siblings are always offspring, but offsprings may be siblings or may not be. Here there I said the product of the sexual reproduction arise from the same parent. It doesn't mean it that both male and female parent should be common. No. If either of the parent is common, even after that they would be considered as a siblings. One more associated term is a twins. Just remember, products of the sexual reproduction arise from the same parent through the same pregnancy. Then they called twins. Means in case of the twin, one more word that we have to involve is the same pregnancy. So products of the sexual reproduction called offspring. Products of the sexual reproduction arise from the same parent called sibling. Products of the sexual reproduction arise from the same parent through the same pregnancy, then they called twins. So these are the 5 related terms. Afterwards, some other terms. Character and trait. We can use one more term, phenotype. Character means distinguishable features of the organism. Distinguishable features of organisms called characters. Whenever you observe to any human being, how you can judge that it is a human being? Because you instantly observe some characters. Those characters that you observe are actually the determinant on behalf of which you can immediately judge that it is a human being. Whenever you observe to any cow, you observe some distinguishable features like 4 legs, like horns, and so many things, on behalf of which you judge that it is a cow. So all those features with help of which the concerning organism can be distinguished from the rest others are known as a characters. Now the related word is a trait or phenotype, means external appearance of character. Or in other words, you can say inheritable variants of character. External appearance of the character or inheritable variant of the character is known as a trait or phenotype. Just for 5 minutes. I have to stop? No, 5 minutes more. Or 5 more minutes we have. I can continue? Yeah. Yes. So you just remember that the height of the plant is a character, but to be a tall and a dwarf is a feature. Means tall and dwarfness are the two inheritable variant or the distinguishable forms, means phenotype or the trait. Similarly, shape of seed is a character, but to be a round and wrinkled is the trait. Similarly, color of the flower is a character, but to be a violet or white, these are the inheritable variant, means phenotype. So character means distinguishable features of the organism, and the trait means the external manifestation or appearance of the character, or you can say inheritable variant of the character. Now few more terms. Genotype. Genotype means genetic constitution. Genetic constitution of any gamete or any cell or an organism, whatever. Any cell or any gamete or any organism carrying what is the set or combination of the gene, that set of the genes, that combination of the gene is known as a genotype. And genotype, what kind of a genetic constitution we have, accordingly we will show to the phenotype. Means whatever the phenotype you are showing is the consequence of the genotype. What kind of a genetics I have, that will be reflect or exhibit in form of the phenotype. Means phenotype is an outcome of genotype. But don't say likewise that phenotype is an exclusive outcome of the genotype. No, this is wrong, because one more variant is here, and that is the environment. Environment will interact with the genotype, and the interaction of this genotype and environment result into the phenotype. So you should say likewise, or you should understand it likewise, that phenotype is the outcome of interaction between the genotype and environment. So genotype and phenotype, these are the two basic terms that we will use frequently in the coming classes even. Some more terms are here there, like genome, gene pool and germplasm. Genome means complete set of the genes present, the complete set of the genes present in one set of chromosome. I have two set of chromosome in my each cell, one maternal set, one paternal set. So all the genes present on my maternal set of chromosome is a one genome. All genes present on my paternal set of the chromosome is my another genome. Similarly, sum total of all the genes present in all the individuals of a population, that is called gene pool. Means gene pool is a very big combination or collection of the genes as compared to genome. And one more elaborated term is a germplasm. Sum total of all the variants or genes of present in any particular crop as well as their relatives, that is called germplasm. Means suppose I am considering to a particular crop, rice crop, then this all variant present in this rice crop as well as other relatives like wild relatives, local cultivars, they also have a different kind of a variant of the gene. Sum total of all these genes present in this crop as well as in their relatives, that is collectively called germplasm. So sum total of the genes present in the crop and their relatives, germplasm. Sum total of the genes present in all the individuals of any population, gene pool, and sum total of the genes present in one set of chromosome, that is the genome. So genome, then gene pool, and then germplasm. So these were some of the terms that we discussed here, but in the coming episodes or the classes, rest of the terminology and the basic fundamentals of the genetics we will discuss. I hope you understand about all these aspects. You have to wait and you have to be quite passionate about all these things, because it's just a beginning of this journey, because genetics just starts from here. The actual extent of the genetics you will observe and you will realize, and better to say you will enjoy in the coming days. So you should enjoy this genetics in such a critical conditions of the corona. Thank you very much.